I am in so much pain right now. I can't even describe it to you guys. Everything is sore. I can barely keep my mind straight. I start questioning myself. Why did I even do this to begin with? Why did I skip prom for this? 3 years ago, I almost suffocated to death in my 5th period English class. I threw up 5 times in the nurse's office and had to be rushed to the hospital just so I can use a machine to breathe normally. Little did I know that this one event alone would spark extreme personal growth within me and eventually lead me to skipping my own prom just to run a marathon. Hey everybody, Fire Inferno here, back with probably my most serious video on this channel. You know, I've been trying to make this video for 4 months now, but I finally sat down and gathered my thoughts, and here I am today. And before I start this video, I want to ask you guys one very important question. How far are you willing to go to stay true and authentic to yourself? And what is the price you're willing to pay? Because for me, I've made sacrifices, I've had doubts, I've had fears, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've had some wins. And all of that culminated into the person I am today. And I would like to share that with you guys here today. And so without further ado, let's begin. So this marathon saga actually starts all the way when I was like a little kid. You know, when I was a little kid, I loved running, I loved adventure. I was a very boisterous boy. My favorite thing to do in school was to race the other kids, and I was probably the fastest kid in school. Not to flex or anything, but just saying. And that sums up most of the things I enjoyed in my childhood age. Now there was one event that eventually led into this idea of a marathon. It was around the end of 4th grade. My teacher was passing out yearbooks, and when I got my yearbook and opened it, on the first page I saw a picture that I will never forget. It was another kid around the same age as me and the principal, and they were holding this like huge check. And on like the text, it says this kid had just ran a marathon and he won like a money prize to like donate to the school. Seeing that, I was amazed, you know, like some kid around the same age as me was able to accomplish something that great. And when I saw the word marathon, you know, I was curious, you know, what even is a marathon? So I went and I looked it up. 26.2 miles or something like that, a very long distance. When I was a kid, I couldn't really like comprehend how much work it takes to do that. I always assumed, you know, I'll just run it one day. It's not that hard. But, you know, as a kid, I just forgot about it. You know, fidget spinners were more entertaining than a marathon, bro. Like I was having fun playing with my friends, playing games, you know, Minecraft, all that stuff. And eventually I forgot about it. You know, it was always in the back of my mind, but it was never like a huge priority. And so this small like event kind of like laid the idea of a marathon to begin with. And so when I finally got into middle school, things pretty much stayed the same. You know, I was always running. In fact, I was running from class to class. You know, a lot of people were just walking. It's like, why is this kid like running so fast? And I was just like, I enjoyed it. You know, I just wanted to sprint from class to class. I loved PE. I loved exercising. But it was around this time where I noticed there's something wrong with me. Like my lungs would get heavy. I would be coughing a lot. And at first, I thought it was like a common cold or something. Oh, I must be sick. But as things went on, I realized this is not normal. I've been sick. I've been coughing for like months on end. If this was like a sickness, it would have been gone. So I went to the hospital and it was there. I got the news that I was diagnosed with asthma. Now, I didn't have asthma in my childhood. This was something that like developed much later on in my life. But I wasn't really that afraid because I knew people who had asthma. My childhood friends had asthma. And so I was like, it's not that bad, but it was. Life got significantly harder. I would be spitting out mucus every single day. Running, the things that I love to do, like being active, became so much harder. My lungs always felt like they were on fire. Like I was trying to run, I was trying to have fun, but it was just painful, especially around the spring season. Like spring season was like the worst for my asthma. I remember watching Kung Fu Panda 3 one day, and I had to keep a bowl right next to my bed so I can spit out mucus. And I remember like spitting so much that it filled to the brim and had to like dump it twice. This like huge metal bowl. And there are many times in this period where I was just like, why can't I just be normal like the other kids? Like, why do I have to suffer like this? You know, I asked a lot of questions. I was very sad, you know, because it limited my abilities. And I always thought to myself that I would never be able to run as good as the people in my class. And so this was one of the struggles I faced when I was in middle school. And although life got harder, I eventually just lived through it. But around this time, COVID hit And so everyone, was quarantined, everyone went home. And during this period of like quarantine and COVID, I didn't really exercise a lot. Sure, I went outside sometimes, I remember like climbing this mountain with some friends, just exploring, but it wasn't too much. And so I didn't really have a need for like my inhaler. An inhaler is like used to deliver medicine into the lungs. I have one right here in case you guys want to look at it. It's a bit different than the one I got when I was in like 5th grade, but still, you shake it up and then you squeeze two and then you breathe it in and you hold. And that was my experience. I would always have to rely on my inhaler. But when COVID hit, I never really experienced that much of the symptoms in COVID. So I never really got a new one. And so when I got back into high school, we were finally allowed to go back to school. Although we did have to wear like masks, things were pretty much fine. I was able to exercise normally. Well, not normally, but like, all right. I didn't really suffer that much, but nothing could have prepared me for what was to come during the spring season. And it was an event that I talked about at the beginning of the video. It was 2nd semester. I just got back to school from like the winter break. It was like January. And I remember I was having some asthma symptoms. I was coughing again. I had mucus, but I never really thought it was that bad because it's been so long since something bad had happened. So I just never got an inhaler. But this would be one of the biggest mistakes of my life. It was around lunchtime. I was eating rice and like beef, right? But as I was eating it, I had a hard time digesting because of how much mucus I had in my lungs. But I forced it down because I had to eat at lunch. I wanted to finish my food, but I already had a hard time. I almost felt like throwing up, but I didn't think much of it. So I went into my 5th period English class. Now, today my teacher decided that instead of reading in class today, she wanted us to go outside and like enjoy like nature a little bit. So she took everyone into the ag area. We're gonna go back later. So as like most of the class already went out, I was grabbing my book, but then I started coughing a lot. Like I was coughing. I remember one of my classmates were sitting next to me. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I have asthma. This is normal. So a lot of people left and it was only like me and a few people in this class. But then I was like, wait, this isn't normal. I'm still coughing. I can't breathe. But I don't have my inhaler. What am I supposed to do? So I was coughing and it got so bad that I didn't want to this was my personality. I was a very shy and like introverted person back then. I didn't really like to bother anyone with my issues. As I was coughing, I just sat in the corner where no one can see me. It was like a closed door and I hid into like the gap of the closed door and coughing and just tried to fight it. But eventually I knew that it was this bad and I couldn't even speak my words. And so I was coughing, and eventually two of my classmates found me and then they said, do you need help? And then I finally said, yeah, I need help. I don't think I can breathe. And so they helped bring me each side, and my teacher thankfully didn't go outside, and she saw what was happening to me. She almost called like the ambulance, but then she just called my mom, and they were helping me down into the nurse's office to help me like breathe. But at this point, when I was we were on the 2nd floor, by the way. So as we were going down, I looked out like the window and I realized I couldn't breathe at all. Like I couldn't even get oxygen into my lungs. So I was basically like suffocating. It was a very scary moment because I knew that I could literally die. Wow. I remember saying some like cringe thing in my head, but it was like, wow, look at this scenery, if this is the last thing I see before I literally die, maybe life isn't so bad. And everything else was pretty much a blur. I remember them taking me down to the nurse's office, which thankfully was like right downstairs. I was sitting, I was trying to breathe, like I was shaking heavily. Eventually, there was this trash can and I felt like throwing up, so I threw up once. I still had more, so I threw up again 2 times. I was looking at the guy who was working there. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I just kept throwing up. So I kept throwing up like 3, 4, 5 times. Like I don't even know. Like by the end of it, that trash can looked disgusting. But yeah, so thankfully that helped with me allowing to breathe just a tiny bit better because now I wasn't like choking on the food that I had just swallowed, but my airways were still squeezed, so that was still hard for me to breathe. Eventually, my mom arrived at school and I was pulled out of school early and I had to be driven into the hospital. They use this machine to have like medicine pumped into my lungs to open it up. And so I sat there for a few hours just contemplating my life, And I was at rock bottom, that one day just changed everything. I realized how weak I was, how bad I really had it. Certainly, I don't have it the worst in this world, but at that point, I realized, why can't I just be normal? Why do I have to suffer like this? And I realized things had to change in my life. When I first had asthma, I used it as an excuse for me to like take breaks from exercise. I loved exercise, by the way, but I still used it as a way to like sit outside on the sidelines. I didn't have to work hard, but I realized that now, since I have asthma, it wasn't an excuse for me to not work at all. Asthma was the reason I have to work harder, not escape work. This was one of the things that sparked my fitness journey into me because I wanted to improve myself. I wanted to make sure things don't happen again, and I wanted to be a more healthier person to kind of help prevent what happened to me today. And so around this time, I got very disciplined with my fitness journey. Every night before I went to sleep, I would do like a 10-minute ab workout. I really wanted abs too, so I would be hitting that every single day. No excuses, whether I was on vacation, whether I was up late studying, I always made sure to hit my ab workouts every single day, non-negotiable. And I would hit push-ups, squats, curls, my biceps were getting bigger. I started improving and I started training hard. And I was very disciplined, and I never really missed a day until like much later. So like every single day I would be working out or doing some form of exercise, which is like a testament to how much this event changed me. This fear that one day I could probably die pushed me to work hard and improve. It wasn't like the best motivation, sure, I wanted to look good, I wanted to improve my body, but it was also this fear that drove me. And at school in my PE, anytime the track was available, we went to like the field, I would be the only one running on that track. A lot of people that are just playing games on their phones, just talking. I was the only one in that period running on this track. Day after day, I would be putting on my earbuds in, I would be listening to like music, and I would be going at it. I would be running every single chance that I could. And while people were taking it easy, I was putting in the work. But a lot of people didn't really understand, they made fun of me. They're like, why is this guy running every single day? Who do you think you are? And I just ignored them. I just kept pushing hard because not a lot of people can understand what I had been through and why I worked so hard. And sometimes when you hear like near-death experiences from people, the last thing they want to do is go back to the reason that probably caused it. Like I've heard stories where surfers had like an incident with a shark or something, and that fear drove them to not surf again for a while. That was the same for me. I didn't really want to do any physical activities. This near-death experience scared me. I wanted to say that I was normal in the following months, weeks after this, but I wasn't. I could have used this excuse to not run anymore, to not exercise, but I used this as fuel to push me towards someone greater. And so this change really did lead into positive parts of my life. For example, I started hitting the gym, I started building more muscle, started becoming more healthy, eating cleaner, gaining weight, and I also started the YouTube channel that you're watching today. I started posting my bench press PRs, just stories about my life, motivational content, and that type of stuff. And this led all the way into like junior year, where I started taking this channel more seriously. I started doing workout challenges. I wanted to inspire the people around me and push them to become a better person and to be healthier. And it did. I've seen a bunch of my classmates tell me, oh, I usually put on one of your videos and then I work out or something. And I see people on the internet watching my videos and leaving positive comments. It really makes my day. And it was during summer of junior year, before I went into senior year, I had this idea of, what if I went back to that marathon? I remember that like elementary school like image of that kid. Maybe I could do it too. And so I started building up this image of me running and finishing a marathon, not just for the people around me, but for myself. I wanted to prove to myself that even as an asthmatic, I can do it. Because running has always been the core of my life. I've always loved running, but asthma came in and it changed it all. And I wanted to overcome the cards that were dealt to me. And so as we got into senior year, I was very excited to be training for the marathon. I looked it up. I looked at my local marathon. It was like 200 days. I was like, yeah, I got this. I'm a very disciplined person. I can do it. And so I started telling everybody I knew, like my friends, my family. I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. And so I set out on my journey of chasing that childhood dream of running that marathon. And at first I started training when I got home from school. I struggled with like 1 mile, but then I started running more and more, 2 miles, 3 miles, I would even skip school some days just to go run. It's also because I didn't really like school, but I loved running. It gave me peace, it gave me freedom, and it felt liberating. Like the more I ran, the more it felt like my childhood self, the one before all of that fear started coming back to me. One that ran for the fun and joy of it. One not shackled by fear, but was free to push towards a dream. I started reaching new PRs, 5 miles, even 6 miles, my longest distance. But around this time, life got difficult. I was struggling with balancing things like college, schoolwork, YouTube, fitness, running, the gym. And although I wish I could tell you guys that I managed all of that okay, that I didn't buckle under that pressure, I couldn't maintain it at all. And some days I would skip running to focus on more schoolwork and vice versa. And this summed up a bunch of my days in these early months of my senior year. And so around October, my friend had this extra homecoming ticket and he invited me to go to homecoming. And although I was hesitant to go, I wanted to go spend some quality time with my friends. And so that night I got to my friend's house and we drove to my school. But the whole time I was there, I felt like I didn't belong. You know, I tried to enjoy it, I tried to dance, I tried to get into the moment, but I knew deep down that I was meant to be somewhere else. You know, my friends seemed to enjoy it a lot and I was very happy for them, but that night I felt like I wasn't who I really am. I was putting on this mask to make my friends feel happy. And the crazy part is, and I'm not even joking about this, I was texting my brother on our running app, the one we used to track our miles, joking about how I would rather leave this place to go run some laps and train. And I guess you can kind of predict the future from this line alone, but I'm not going to spoil anything just yet. However, after this event, my training slowed more and more and more, and my attention just shifted to other things. And eventually, laziness took over and I just forgot about it altogether. You know, I made a lot of excuses. I got injured during this time. I just didn't have the money. Schoolwork took over, college and all that stuff. But I knew deep down that I just didn't have the discipline. Sure, I was busy, but if there's a will, there's always a way. And I've learned that lesson many times throughout my life. And throughout the ending months of the year, like November and December, I literally ran only 2 times. And although I didn't declare it or say anything out loud, that dream died that winter. And so life went on. The new year came, I celebrated my 18th birthday, I broke my finger, just so many things happened. And I never really thought about that marathon that much. The only thing that I did think about was how I disappointed, the people around me. I told everyone I was gonna run that marathon, I will do it, I am capable of that. And a lot of people believed in me. I just never did it. I was sad because I couldn't live up to my words. It's either you say you're gonna do something and you actually do it, or just not say anything at all. And I made the mistake of telling everyone and I didn't do it. And I remember my brother telling me something that, why not just run a marathon on your own terms? Like, just run the distance. You don't even need the actual race, get the medal itself. But me being the egotistical and proud person that I was, I couldn't stop and listen to his words. I thought I was better than that. I thought at my level, I didn't even need to run it on my own. I should be running in an actual race, even though I never put in the work for it. I was just a proud person, and I know that was the cause of my downfall. And the marathon just seemed to never really happen. But looking back on it now, there was a butterfly effect that occurred, that every small piece led to me eventually running the marathon. And it all started with a school field trip. Our school held a field trip to go to downtown LA, and I had a fun time with my friends. We explored, we saw new places, we enjoyed food together, and we had a fun time. But it was on this trip that I got the opportunity to talk to one of my classmates, and he told me something that would change it all. So as we were walking down the street, and he's like, "Oh, I just remembered, I'm running a marathon this Sunday." And I was like, "Oh, is it the LA, the Los Angeles marathon?" I think it was what it was. And he was like, "Yeah, bro, I'm actually a runner." And I was like, "How'd you get the money and stuff?" He was like, "I'm part of this running club." But really, what it told me was that I could have been the one running alongside him. If only I committed to that goal, I would have been with him. Now, money wasn't an issue, mind you. I kept telling everyone when I didn't end up running that marathon was, "Oh, it was just too expensive." But really, what I really wanted to say was, "Oh, I just couldn't commit to it, and I'm using money as an excuse that I can't run it." Because I just wasn't disciplined, I just didn't have it in me. And by him saying that, it exposed that part of myself, and it brought it to reality. Sometimes when I'm too proud, I have this issue where I can't see things from the perspective that other people's looking. It might seem obvious, I can tell someone else that, oh, they're proud, they're doing that, how to fix it, but I can't look at my own self sometimes. And so that exposed something within me. I knew that there was a part of me that was too proud. And seeing him talk about the marathon, I realized that things had to change. And it wasn't until another person who I knew from a friend also ran that marathon and took pictures of his medal That was when I knew that I could have been the one running alongside them, competing with everyone. But I gave it all up because I was too proud and I was too undisciplined and I didn't put in the work to make things happen. And that was the first thing that really exposed my faults and ground me back into reality. And so now I was thinking clearly. I still wanted to give that marathon a chance, but I just didn't have the heart to do it. So I forgot about it until a few weeks later. I was hitting the gym, and on the way back home, one of my friends told me, "Oh, did you know it's senior dish day tomorrow? We're all gathering together at like this friend's house. He was holding a party. There's gonna be like food, drinks." That's exciting, you know? But on that day, I was just like, oh, I just worked out. I did so much work. I didn't really like school anyways. Let me just use this free day to bum around. I was going to like just relax, watch movies and videos all day. That was basically it. And the next day I woke up, I watched Sonic 2 because me and my brother planned to watch Sonic 3 together like a little bit. But he's watched Sonic 2. I didn't watch Sonic 2 yet. It's the one with like Knuckles. So I was watching the movie. And I fully intended to bum around this day. Don't get me wrong. I really wanted to just be lazy, you know? But all of a sudden, I kid you not, I can't even make this up. Midway through the movie, I just had this urge to go outside and take a walk. I was listening to the song over the past few days. It's called Assumptions. I told my parents, I was like, let me take a walk outside. Just a nice stroll, you know, free day, get some oxygen, see like scenery and everything. And they're like, yeah, that's okay. So I put on my earbuds, I got outside, drank water, and just started walking. I didn't really have an end goal. I was just walking for fun, and I didn't even really track like the miles because I was just walking for fun. There was no reason to do it. Every time I go on a run, I usually track like how long it is, like the miles. But this time I didn't really find a need to do so. I just wanted to enjoy the moment. I explored the streets, I went around town. I ended up stopping by Panda Express too. And after all that, I heard from my friends, you know, they're having fun ditching. I'm having fun ditching too.
Bro, I've been on a walk since like, I don't know, what time is it? Like 2 or something, bro. I've been doing side quests. Damn, bro, no one's getting me. I've been wearing my goggles.
And as I got back home, I felt weak in my legs. Why do my legs feel so painful right now? I was having so much fun that the time just passed by. But I was like, there's no reason for my legs to hurt this bad. I didn't even go that far. It was just a nice calm walk. But it was when I really calculated. I was like, wait, how long did I really travel? Because I didn't track it. So I was like, wait, 1 mile here, 2 miles there, you know, 3.5. Oh, I went to Panda Express. Oh, I took this street. And when I added them all up, the total was over 7 miles. Now, a lot of you might be saying, oh, that's not even that much. But to me, that was the most I have ever like walked or ran. Now, this one walk changed it all. I mean, if me walking randomly, you know, just a random walk, turned out to be 7 miles, then I was more closer to the marathon than I ever could have imagined. But I just never realized my potential because I never really pushed myself. And so this walk, this random walk, like think about it, like imagine you've been working towards like a new like PR or like a new goal, and all of a sudden this time you don't even care about it, you know, you're not even like aiming for it, and you go past your best. That's actually crazy. Like, that is a crazy feeling. And the fact that I did it unknowingly, you know, like I just walked a random walk, I didn't even track it, turned out to be my longest run, really gave me hope. That was when my brother's words turned out to be true. I didn't need an actual race to prove it to myself that I am capable. No, I can just do it on my own. But it was my pride that held me back. You know, I wanted that medal. I wanted that recognition. I wanted to run down that path, you know, hit the ribbon. I don't know. I've never run in an actual race. Like just, and see that moment. I envisioned that in my head all the way back from like summer. I wanted to feel that. It was my pride and ego that really blinded me. It was when I fully gave up on running in an actual race, I could then push myself into becoming someone greater. I was going to run that marathon on my own terms. I was still gonna run 26 miles by tracking it, you know, like by tracking it accurately. I could still run 26 miles, but it's an unofficial race. But it will still be a marathon, you know, just not like an official marathon. Who really cares? And so this one walk ignited the fuel inside me to start again on my path of redemption. In the following months, I would be out and about on the streets. I would be running, I would be walking to any place I really go. I wanted to push myself. You know, I walked 8 miles, I ran 9, 10, even 16 miles at one point because of how much I wanted to prove to myself that I am capable.
Yo, this is the longest run I've ever been on. I think I'm 15 miles or out of reach 15 or 16. So I'm like 10 off from an actual marathon. I've just been walking, but it hurts like hell. Everything's jacked up. Every single step I take hurts. My mind is like in pain right now. Like I'm doing this so I can be like saying I don't even know what I'm doing anymore, but I'm almost home. But this kind of gives me a perspective into how it will actually be and how much pain people go through when they go do like physical challenges like this. Like it's crazy, bro. Like there are people among us there are people among us who do crazy stuff like this and you wouldn't even know. I mean, it's not like everyone's like David Goggins or something, but they do exist. And after being out here, I see a lot of people who run, who chase like their dreams, who are getting crazy out here. And yeah, it's inspiring. Well, I'm gonna get home, but it's just crazy because like my mind never thought I could like even move this distance. Like that, did I tell you like 2 miles was my max in my school, and now I'm almost 16 miles. How crazy is that? Man, that's crazy. Yeah, so I'm gonna focus on getting home, but it hurts really bad right now. But we're locked in. I'm gonna make it. I know I can. So I just have to believe it. Keep going.
And I wasn't doing this out of like discipline, motivation, or even running from the fear. This time, I was simply doing it out of love. I enjoyed every single moment of it. The pain, the feeling of air in my lungs. Getting to connect with the people around me and seeing my city gave me a sense of joy, peace. I felt free. Running was my freedom. And for the first time in a long time, I really felt that. There was no struggle, nothing holding me back. This was me being true to myself and being who I wanted to be. This was me no longer running away, but standing my ground to finally run that marathon. And it was around this time where I finally decided what day I was actually going to run and attempt my marathon. It was the day that my school was going to be holding their prom. Now this is where the whole story finally comes together to say why I skipped prom to run a marathon. Now, if you remember when I talked about homecoming, I didn't really feel like myself there. And if I could, I would give it up to go run. And that was the same mindset I had going into prom. You know, I didn't even want to spend the money. I didn't even want to go there to begin with. But my friends told me that I should go. I should go with them. I should spend the last moments like of high school with them. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I told them I was going to run that marathon on that day, and this was when a huge argument broke out between me and my friends at lunch. And their reasoning was that prom is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and you'll never experience something like this again, which is true. Everyone was telling me that. You know, my parents are saying, just do it one time, you know, you never know when. You'll never get this again. And they're saying, just go, you know, it'll be fun, everyone else is going, you know, you'll be a loser if you don't go, that type of stuff. And I knew my friends had the best intentions for me, but for me, I wanted to run that marathon. Now for me, I'm saying that this marathon is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me. And they're saying, what? How can that be? How can your marathon be a once-in-a-lifetime experience if you can just run it again? You can run it again and again, you know, you can run it any day. You can still run it. You can run 100 marathons, but there is only one prom. And for that is true too. But my reasoning stems from something else. It stems from me. You know, a lot of times when people say they're gonna do something, you know, I'll hit the gym tomorrow, I'll hit the gym in this New Year's, I'll improve myself, I'll make a change for the better. And they always wait till like the next day, you know, I'll wait till this. They don't push it, you know, just like me. Oh, I'll wait till this to run the marathon. Oh, I have time, I can commit to it more later, right? But the reality is, As Apollo once said in Rocky, there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. Because tomorrow is never guaranteed. If I don't stand my ground now, if I don't fight, if I run away again, who knows when I will actually run another marathon, right? Because if I don't prove to myself that I can do it, then when? When will I ever have this opportunity again? You know, like, I can do it next year, right? But will I really commit to it? I can do it 2 years from now. Will I really commit to it? I've shown that myself that I can't commit. I've shown myself that I was too proud, too egotistical, and I couldn't even run it. I thought that I had already became the person that was capable of doing great things. You know, I did a bunch of fitness challenge, right? But it turns out I had a lot to learn about myself, and I had to change my mindset. So if I don't stand my ground now on this one day, then when? And also, I just didn't really want to go to prom. You know, like, it's fun, you know, you drink and stuff, you dance, but that wasn't me. I knew that if I'd gone to prom, I would be basically putting on a mask again and putting a version of me that wasn't true to myself. I wasn't living with how I wanted to live. And it hurts, you know, like, I wanted to spend time with my friends. You know, I knew, like, about the fear of missing out, all that stuff. And I knew that I was abandoning it for my own self. I was basically choosing myself, choosing my goal over the people I know and love. But it was a price that I was willing to pay. I was willing to get hate from my friends. I was willing to be an outcast. I was willing to be the weird one. I was willing to be the odd one out. I mean, I've been called worse things on this journey. I've been insulted. I've been judged by people who don't understand. But I was going to use all of that and become someone greater. And this time, a fire, that fire inside me, burned again. And it kept pushing me, you know, it kept telling me, run, 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 not for anyone else, but for you. Run for yourself. Run for the child you who always loved running. Run for the middle school you who was diagnosed with asthma and his life changed forever. Run for the high school you who almost choked and died in class. Run for the you who gave up on his dream. And run for yourself now in the present, who's willing to take everything and move forward, despite what anyone says. And so the days pass, I pushed myself, and 2 days before the marathon, we had the day off on Thursday. I took a final walk to really strengthen my conviction. I was on that walk, I was thinking about my future, I was thinking about a lot of things. And in 2 days, I was going to have to suffer the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I knew I wasn't in my tip-top shape. You know, I was not a marathon runner to begin with. I didn't train consistently. I literally only started training officially and dedicated to it for like less than 2 months. I had less than 2 months of training going into a marathon as an asthmatic. It looked bleak. I don't know if anyone can like relate. It's basically like going up against something that looked impossible. The cards I was dealt with made me scared my whole life. But as I got home from that walk, I knew I wasn't ready. But despite all my fears, I had to find the courage within me and go after it. This time I was no longer running away. And as I went to school on Friday, everyone knew that prom was tomorrow and they knew that I was going to attempt it. They gave me their best wishes, but as I got home from school, I was dealing with all these thoughts, you know, can I really do it? Can a person like me even run a marathon? Something as crazy as that. Yeah, and before I went to sleep, I told myself that this was it. No more running away, no more excuses. Tomorrow I will push myself harder than ever, and I will run that marathon. I told myself that I would rather die than give up. I was willing to run until I couldn't. I was willing to walk until I couldn't. I was willing to crawl as long as I ran that marathon. I would do that and live a lie. That lie being, because I have asthma, I can't run a marathon. And that I would rather my body break before my spirit. Alright, so it's like 10 right now. Tomorrow is the marathon. I've done everything I can. I'm gonna go to bed and get a good night's rest. And then tomorrow, let's go fight it. Let me show you guys the setup real quick. Let me show you my prep real quick. So here we got the marathon prep. I got my clothes for tomorrow.
I got 2 inhalers just in case, so I don't like die, you know. I got the wallet with money, so I can like buy just in case I need, because I'm gonna be running around my city. I got this bag to hold everything in. I got my earbuds for music and stuff. 2, what is it called, power banks, so my phone doesn't die. 5 water bottles. I think I might need more. And then I have energy gels. My friend recommended these. He's an actual runner. So I asked him like, what do you eat on your runs? And he recommended that and the backpack to hold it on. Whew. So yeah, this is all the prep.
And so I went to bed. And tomorrow will be the time I made my final stand.
Bro. So I just woke up. Everything seems to be good, except that it's raining right now. So I'm just gonna eat my food and prepare. We still have the whole day. We'll see if situations get better. But I really want to run it, but right, it's coming down hard right now. So let's just hope for the best. It just stopped raining. It just stopped raining. So I ate already. I packed everything up. I'm gonna get changed and we're gonna go out there. Yes! All right, I'm about to head out. Rain just cleared up. It's still a little wet, but today's the day. And so this is gonna be the start of something crazy. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I'm going out here. I'm just gonna put my faith in myself. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna get it. And on a day where everyone wants me to do something, everyone wants me to go to prom, everyone wants me to do that, I'm gonna choose my own path. I choose me. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, come on. All right, I'll track every mile or something. I don't even know how to. I just reached 1 mile. First one done. Like 25 more to go. I'm feeling great. Let's go. Mile 2 down. So I'm going towards the mountains. I'm gonna go there. Let's keep pushing. We got this. Mile 3, everybody. New place, new area. Let's keep going, let's keep going. Let's go. Oh, we're up here now. 4 miles. Gonna be 5 soon. Let's keep going. 5 miles, baby. 5 miles. We're like almost 1/5 of the way there. Let's go. Nothing's gonna put me down. I'm gonna keep going for myself. Let's go. I just reached 6 miles. Oh, I'm out here. Woo! So that means I'm gonna take some perks, aka some energy gels right now. So I'm gonna go. All right, let me refill real quick. Well, let's keep going. It started raining again. I'm wet all over, but nothing's gonna stop me from running this marathon. I said I was gonna die. Then not completed. My will is strong. So let's battle through the rain. Oh. The weather wants to test me, but I'm not gonna fall. I'm gonna push through, and again, I'm gonna put my phone away before it low-key starts getting wet. All right, stay hard. Whoa, it's raining a whole lot out here. I mean, look at this path. Look at this path right here. How cool is, yo, we're right above the freeway. Woo! Yo, hey, I gotta close this phone soon before it gets wet. Let's go. Keep going. Woo! So it's currently 7 miles right now. I underestimated the rain quite a bit, so I'm seeking shelter under this tree. Whoa. So yeah, 7 miles. What is that? Like 19 more to go. But I got all day. So let's keep pushing. Whoa, fire. I'm gonna hide under here a little bit. I didn't expect this to rain this much. It stopped raining today and I was like, let's take, oh wait, I don't know why it's so dark. I was like, let's take the opportunity. All right, let me lock in real quick and let's continue. I just hit 8 miles. I had my phone off so the tracker didn't track it until I turned it back on. Take a little break. I gotta get up pretty soon. because my quad is kind of cramping a little bit, and I got to recover after the rain. So I'm just readjusting, and we'll get back into it. So I'm almost over 1/3 of the way there. How crazy is that? Oh, let's keep going. I just reached 9 miles. We're almost at the 10-mile mark. The skies have cleared up and I'm starting to dry up. Things are going perfectly. But I just have to give it my all. I just hit mile 10. I've been walking lately, but this is a crazy milestone. I'm not gonna give up. I feel my legs shaking up, but no, my spirit is strong. I will finish the marathon. Let's get it. Stay strong. 11 miles. Let's go. 12 miles. We're almost halfway there. Let's go. I just made it to 13 miles. I don't think I can even run anymore, so right now I'm just gonna trudge. I'm just gonna walk, but we're gonna make it. And if my legs regain their strength, then I'm gonna start jogging again. But as of right now, I'm just trying to survive. All right, I just hit 14 miles. There it is. It says it on the tracker. And so, yeah, 14, mile 14. Mile 15. Mile 16. Let's go. Mile 17. 9 more to go. 9 more left. 18 miles. 8 more to go. Yeah. The sun's setting, it might be night. We're gonna keep pushing. Never give up. 19 miles. Whew. One more and we'll hit the milestone, mile 20. I've been out here for over 6 hours. The pain's not getting any better, but I'm gonna keep pushing through. I just reached 20 miles. Yeah, 2-0. I sound so dead inside because my right leg hurts so much. I'm just dragging it across the floor right now. Like I'm not even walking, like, right? I'm waddling. It's kind of cold out here too. I got 6 more miles to go. You know, if I was in a better condition, I feel like I would celebrate this a lot more. But I'm just kind of fighting through it right now. You know, hey, 20 miles is 20 miles, right? That's cool. But I know my soul won't rest until I'm finished with the full marathon. So let's get it. Let's go. 21 miles. 5 more to go. Oh, I'm so tired right now. Sun's coming down. I've been here at this since like the morning. Crazy. I'm almost done. Mile 22. I'm in the worst shape of my life right now. I'm all jacked up. Oh, it's so dark, the lights are even coming out. I can barely walk. I don't even think in my whole life I've experienced something this bad. I mean, this is on like the level of when I broke my arm. I dropped a little lower right there. Everything is sore. I can barely keep my mind straight. I start questioning myself. Why did I even do this to begin with? Why did I skip prom for this? But now I know it was to fight. I'm fighting against myself. I was fighting against what I was meant to be. If I have just believed that just because I had asthma, I will never be able to do this, then I would never be here. All those limiting beliefs, all those thoughts, I'm gonna put them all to rest in 4 more miles. 4 more, and then the marathon is over. And then I will have done it. "23 miles, 3 more to go. Let's go." It's so dark right now. I can't even believe I'm even walking right now. Everything feels so sore. Let's go. Bro, it's so dark out here. Everything hurts. This is not where I want to be. Oh my goodness, but for some reason it feels liberating. Yo, but low-key I might get jumped out here, bro. I might get jumped. Oh, so I'm almost at 24. So I'm almost at 24 miles. It's really dark. I'm also really close to my house. I called my brother so he can go out and walk the last 2 with me. And yeah, we're gonna do it at the park where it all started, where I first ran my first few miles, when this whole journey started all the way back in August of senior year. I know it's really dark. I'm almost there. So let's do this. Let's do this. All right, I got home. The mess is here. And I got my brother. He's gonna be joining me for the last 2 miles. Let's go. We're going back out there. No. All right, we're gonna go to the park. And then we're gonna celebrate because I'm almost done. Dude, I've been at this for 8 hours. What do you think about this?
8 hours is crazy, bro. Like, that's dedication.
All right, let's go. Yo, it's kind of spooky out here. All right, let's go. Wait, look how sketchy this is, bro. Yo. Look.
Sloppy.
Dude. Yo, we just hit 24 miles. How do you feel about this?
Like, running 24 miles gotta be like the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, it was so difficult, dude. I can't even feel my legs.
Get up! Bro, okay, so 2 more miles and a little bit, and that's a marathon right there. We're heading to the park that we trained at on the first few days. I can't even believe this is possible. This is crazy. Alright, this is the park that started it all. This park right here, I would run laps around every single day to train. This was before. So now we're here. I wanted to finish the marathon here because it was that significant. It was my day 1 spot. So I wanted to finish it here. We have 2 more miles to go. Let's go. Let's go. Yo, I'm resting now, bruh. We're almost 25. You want to say some words for the video? What's the quote of the day?
The quote of the day: it's not about the amount of years you have left, but what your years really mean.
Yo, that goes hard. Oh, that's actually a hard quote. Okay, I'm gonna rest a little bit. I don't think I can. Okay, just 1 more mile. Almost 2, like a little bit under 2. Whoa. Bro, I just hit 25, but it's so dark. 25 miles. Yo, 25 miles. 1 more mile. And then I finished the marathon. This is crazy. This is crazy, bro. Ah! This is the best prom day ever. Skip prom. No, I'm kidding. If you like prom, go to prom, bro. Don't be a gremlin like me. We just hit 26 miles, but it's not a marathon yet. Oh, there's no dogs barking at us. But we just need a little bit more. We had the final push. And then that's a full marathon. Let's go. So, first semester, I said I was gonna run a marathon. But today, look where I am today. Today, I ran a marathon. Oh, 26 miles. All done. I said I was gonna do it, and a man always keeps his promises. So yeah, I ran 26 miles. I'm out here, I'm conquering life, but most of all, I conquered myself. You know, as an asthmatic, this thing ain't easy. I'm out here choking, but you know, I did it. And what's next? Clouds Rest, 23 miles. I'll see you on that mountain. That's all I got for me. Stay hard, you know, David Goggins. 26 miles. I ran a marathon, baby.
Let's go.
Alright, I'm going home. I'm dying, bro. I'm so dead.
Alright. Congrats, bro. 26 miles.
Can't think, can't sleep, can't breathe.
And so, after a long journey, I finally achieved my childhood dream of running a marathon in a way that I never could have expected. And don't get me wrong, throughout the whole day, I did feel lonely. You know, I was attempting this by myself. It got to the point where my friends were getting their seats and they were celebrating and they were posting their videos and stuff. They're having such a fun time that I did feel left out. A part of me wished that I could have been there with them, enjoyed it, but I knew deep down that this wasn't the path for me and that by doing that, I wouldn't be authentic to myself. And if I had to do it again, I would always choose to run the marathon over going to prom. And I have no regrets with the decision I've made. And I had my family supporting me in every step of the way. You know, in those final moments, those dark hours, I had them with me, cheering me on. And that made me feel grateful for the people I have in my life. And to anyone who's watching, whether it comes to other things in life, it doesn't have to be prom, who's having trouble deciding, I want you guys to always choose a path that is authentic to who you are. Always be true to yourself, even though it may be difficult at times. And don't take this the wrong way with me saying, oh, you can't have fun, you can't go to parties, you know, oh, don't be such a downer. Because in fact, right after prom, I did go attend 2 more events similar to prom. The first being senior night. Senior night is basically this tradition where the juniors host this like celebration for the seniors to go and graduate. And it was like a circus theme and I enjoyed that with my friends. And the second one being grad night where we went to Disneyland and we had a lot of fun and we rode a bunch of rides. Those 2 events were where I was true to myself. And if you asked anyone who was with me on that day, you would know that I would have the biggest smile with me at all times. And I enjoyed every single moment. Because those events were where I truly wanted to go there and enjoy times with my friends. I wasn't holding anything back and I got to be who I really was and I wasn't really pressured, you know, I chose to go to these events. So don't take this the wrong way. You know, if your gut is telling you to go to prom, you know, it'll be fun, then go, you know, go for it. Please do, because, you know, there are things that truly are once in a lifetime and don't miss it. Go for it. But if you know you wanted to do something else and your heart is at another place and you want to choose that path, but it's a bit difficult, then please also do that. Choose the path that is more authentic to yourself. Choose the path that would make yourself happy in the future. Choose the path that would make you feel no regrets. That's like the ultimate message I want to share with everyone who's watching this video. And I definitely learned a lot about myself throughout this journey and leading up to me eventually running it. And finally, to anyone who has goals or dreams in life, you have to sacrifice for it. You have to ruthlessly go after it. And please do it now, because tomorrow is never guaranteed. And so this wraps up my long saga, and I'm excited for what's to come in the future. Thank you so much for watching and supporting me, and I hope my story inspires you to go out there and make your dreams and goals a reality. And yeah, that's pretty much it. God bless and have a great day. See you guys.